Hey there, welcome once again to a Weekend Common Constitutionalist video podcast. My name is Brent Smith. I am the Common Constitutionalist. And today I'm going to be talking about one topic, and I've entitled the podcast, Teacher Gets Canned for Not Kowtowing to the Radicals. That's what I'll be discussing today, right after this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now there's a private school K through 12 in Manhattan, New York, and it's called the Grace Church School. And as you'll see in a moment, Grace Church School is an oxymoron, okay? It costs 57 grand a year to attend this school. It's K through 12. I don't know if it's a progressive scale or whether it's the same to get into kindergarten as it is to get into senior year in high school. I have no idea. And nor do I care to look into it. I really don't care. It's not germane to this conversation. But it's gotten some rotten press as of recently, as Paul Rossi, a math teacher, was let go. His contract was not renewed, or as the school says, he was relieved of his teaching duties, quote unquote. All right, so there you go. So, why, you ask, was he relieved of his teaching duties? Well, it seems he took issue with their new curriculum that now includes a 12-page language inclusion guide and the addition of, you got it, critical race theory. What else would they have in Manhattan? Oh boy, what a deal. The guide states that the school wants to provide a more welcoming and inclusive space. I guess we're supposed to assume then since its establishment in 1894, the school has been non-welcoming and exclusionary. Doesn't that make sense? Since they want to provide a welcoming and inclusive space, which means by default they haven't before. It was non-welcoming and exclusionary. Here's just a snippet of the 12-page language guide. This is awesome. You're going to love it. And then you're going to ask yourself, why is it taking so long to include such common sense measures into learning? It's like common sense gun control. How come it's taking so long, you wonder? How could we all collectively not figured out how hurtful we've been and probably permanently damaged our young ones? How come? I don't know. Let's find out. I mean, how many children have failed in life because they were forced to call their adults that they reside with their parents, or worse, mom and dad? Hurts just to say that. I wish we had some common sense inclusion, a common sense inclusion guide that we could reference, so we wouldn't have to call our parents mom and dad. That would be awful. I found this excerpt in The Blaze, which is basically a hate speech forum, as we all know, right? So of course they would mock something as significant and earth-shaking as this guy. And I'm surprised they could fit it all in a mere 12 pages, the guide that is. Okay. But I guess they just tried to keep the inclusion down to a minimum. Here you go. Ready? Wow. Instead of saying mom, dad, or even parents, the school suggests, I wonder if you don't do what they suggest, what do they do? I wonder. The school suggests using terms like grown-ups, folks, family, and guardians. Yeah, my guardians. Guardian A and Guardian B. Hey, jeez. When communicating about life at home. And instead of saying boys and girls, which would be hateful, guys or ladies and gentlemen. The nerve of even printing this. Individuals should stick to more generic terms such as people. Isn't that speciesist? Folks, the folks, like Bill, whatever. The folks. Friends and readers, quote unquote. Jeez. Quote, here we go, here's some more. Families are formed and structured in many ways. That's right. As Grace Church School, geez, we use inclusive language that reflects its diversity, except for diversity of thought. We don't use it. We use exclusive language for that, but that's beside the point. But it's important to refrain from making masking. I got that on the brain, huh? It's important to refrain from making assumptions about who kids live with. It could be Sasquatch. I don't know. Who cares for them? It could be nobody. Whether they sleep in the same place every night, on a different park bench, different homeless shelter, I don't know. Whether they see their parents, they actually said parents, etc., the guide says. How could that's ironic, ain't it? The head of the school, George Davison, a white guy, pointed out that the guide does not ban any language. No, of course not. Rather, it gives us all words to use that will bring people together. Will it now? So it's not banning language, but I wonder if you slip up and say, my mom and dad, what's going to happen? Are you going to be pointed at? Are you going to be made an example of? Eventually, sure. That's what's going to happen. And they want to bring people together, again, until you disagree. The fact that you can't call mom and dad, then it's not going to be inclusive, it's not going to be welcoming, and you're not going to be brought into the fold, okay? You'll be shunned and treated as a pariah. So all kidding aside, can you begin to see how oxymoronic it is for a church school, okay, a religious school? I guess there's no way in heck it's any kind of religious school, so I don't know what kind of church it is, to be teaching this kind of nonsense. But in New York City, where they vote for somebody and they elect somebody like Bill de Blasio for mayor, I can guess something stupid like this is probably pretty commonplace, and we know, in fact, that it is. So they basically need to take the church out of Grace Church School and just call it Grace Church, Grace School, or Inclusion School, or something like that. Inclusion of everyone except for conservative thinkers, or free thinkers, as it were. Okay. Oh, back to the canning of Paul Rossi. He blew the whistle on the school's critical race theory agenda, and that's why he was fired. He called it out for what it is and refused to go along with the rest of the radicals and those too afraid to speak up. Critical race theory, in a nutshell. Oh no, what am I doing in this bloody nutshell? Okay. Ba-dum-bum. Hat tip, Austin Powers. Just saying. All whites are racist. This is critical race theory. And this is, I don't care what anyone tells you, this is what critical race theory is boiled down to. All whites are racist, even subconsciously. You may not even know you're racist, but if you're white, you're racist, even subconsciously. It doesn't matter whether you think you are or not, you are. All whites are oppressors, okay? So the poorest white in Appalachia is an oppressor, and LeBron James is part of the oppressed crowd. You do the math on that, because I don't think I can, okay? All people of color, including LeBron, are oppressed. All whites are privileged, even the ones that living on dirt sandwiches in Appalachia. And this will always be the case. And the dynamic can and will never change. That's critical race theory, period. That's it, okay? And all this diatribe is called out in the classroom. White kids are forced to stand up and to literally, in front of all their other classmates, friends or otherwise, they're forced to endure this crap just because of the color of their skin. Anytime you need to test racism, if it's a question, even a question, all you have to do is flip it, okay? If this were whites doing this to a black, it would be abhorrent racism. But since it's blacks or people of color doing this to whites, somehow it's not. I don't care whether you think they're oppressors or not, it's still racism. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, so Rossi basically wouldn't stand for this. He's the only one, evidently, that wouldn't stand for this at this school. So he spoke to Davison on the phone, And he described how Davison admits that he thinks the school's curriculum is demonizing white students for being born white, basically, and making white kids feel less than, this is a quote, feel less than, comma, for nothing they are personally responsible for, unquote. Davison denied the claims, but Rossi has it on audio. So it's hard to deny a claim when you're listening to it. You know, who are you going to believe? Me or your lying ears type of nonsense, all right? So this is what you get for not bowing to radical leftist ideology. And I think the school head, matter of fact, I'm almost certain the school head agrees with Davison, but I'm not judging him, okay? His job's on the line, maybe his life's on the line, I don't know. But is this really a place that you really want to be the head of a schoolmaster or principal of? Is this really the type of school that you want to be involved in? Okay, do you really want to be a part of leading these poor, hopeless children down this rabbit hole? And by hopeless, I mean this is why a lot of the left acts out, because they get drilled this stuff from kindergarten on, and this has been going on for a long time in many metropolitan areas, and these poor children don't know any better. This is what they're taught. These are the types of these are the types of phony facts and schoolwork that they get. And if this stuff is beaten into you time and time and time again, how are you expected to turn out? This is exactly how you expect it to turn out. And this is why you get Antifa and BLM and whatnot, because these kids have a hopeless future. Just look at, remember when RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, died, and there was that hysterical girl or woman in the car just screeching at the top of her lungs? She's a product of this type of system. She thinks the world is going to end because RBG died. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. The world isn't going to end because the Biden administration got in. It's going to be severely damaged. Yes, it will. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that the world isn't going to end because of it. All right? So I guess that's all I've got. It's just that I feel so bad for the children that attend. It's not like they're paying and attending this school on purpose. Their parents are putting them into these schools, and they're being indoctrinated into this nonsense from age 5 or 6 on. And how do you think they're going to turn out? They're going to turn out learning critical race theory. They're not going to know anything of the actual history of this nation, and it's a daggum tragedy, and it's child abuse is what it is. So other than that, I guess that's it. My name is Brent Smith. I'm the Common Constitutionalist. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and share, and get the word out on stuff like this. This is going to be a constant battle. This isn't something where we just, you know, write an article, talk about it amongst our friends. We have to do more. So try to get the word out. Try to share this. That's all I got. See you next week. Maybe during the week, on the weekend, whatever. Bye.